Happy you made it back, folks. We're joined now by Jack Buckby. Jack is a conservative author and counter-extremism researcher from the UK. His latest book is called Monster of Their Own Making: How the Far Left, the Media, and Politicians Are Creating Far-Right Extremists. It's now available online. Great to have you back, sir.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me back on.
I want to start off with, you suspect you've had coronavirus. Let me know what you went through, and did you get it confirmed or not?
No, I didn't get it confirmed. Unfortunately, there's just a massive lack of testing at the moment. I wasn't confirmed, but I was sick as a dog for almost 10 days with the dry hacking cough, with body aches and fevers and headaches. And it was pretty nasty, but I managed to get through it. You know, I was fine.
Well, you know, let's see, the lack of testing. Now, we're told over here in America by the luminaries of the American left in and out of the press that it's only America and it's only Donald Trump, because of Donald Trump, that there's no testing. Are you saying that over in the UK there's also a lack of test kits?
There's pretty much a lack of test kits everywhere. And one of the big problems is we're so reliant on China. Really, nobody could have been that prepared for this. I mean, if we want to be honest about it, actually, maybe we could be asking questions in America why Joe Biden and President Obama didn't stock up on PPE and medical supplies after Ebola and swine flu. But I digress. We have a major issue with a lack of testing kits. And that's just the way things are. We didn't know this virus was going to happen. We didn't know what the virus was going to be. And so the test kits we have are coming from China. And actually in the UK, we ordered 3.5 million test kits, and they turned out to be dysfunctional. They didn't work.
As a matter of fact, I saw, what was it? It was Spain and the Czech Republic also had the same problems. Not only is China contaminating the world with the China coronavirus, their products are lousy. Why we have our supply chains there, we'll get to that in a second. Your Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, he is out of the ICU, doing much better. What do you know about the latest update on his condition?
What we know is that he's out of ICU. He was never on a ventilator, but the ventilator was on standby. He's been sitting up, he's been making short walks, and he's all there. He's available, he's making decisions, thank goodness. So it's great news about Boris. There's been a lot of controversy about people calling him a fighter, because apparently it's wrong to call him a fighter, because that implies the people who sadly die of the virus aren't fighters, which is, of course, a nonsense. But Boris is a fighter. He's got through this. It looks like he's doing OK, thankfully.
Yeah. Do you know, was there anything released about the regimen he received? Was hydroxychloroquine part of his treatment, or do we know yet?
I don't believe it was. I don't think it's actually being used in the UK at all. This is one of the things that perplexes me, is that it seems to be good. It's available. It's tested. We know it's safe. You'd think it would be rolled out more widely, and I'm totally on President Trump's side with this. But no, Boris Johnson received the same treatment that everybody else received in an NHS hospital. They did a fantastic job. The NHS is really astounding at the work that they're doing right now across the country. In fact, what's really heartening is seeing 750,000 British people in 24 hours signed up to volunteer for the NHS and help. It's a real community sort of spirit and effort here.
Yeah, well, that might be something that is all over the globe. That's more of a uniting force than a dividing force. And of course, the country that I believe is going to be on the outside is the country responsible for all of this, Communist China, which has unleashed this pandemic onto the world, and then with the help of the World Health Organization, tried to cover it up. Let me ask how Brits regard Communist China.
I have to say, I don't think it's really on the on the table as much as it is in America. America, you've long had this sort of question about the power of China, because it might overtake the United States as the great superpower, whereas in the UK we're not really thinking along those lines. I don't see that much from like the average population talking about China. Everyone's very focused on dealing with the here and now. You know, we've got 9,000 people dead in the UK. We had almost 1,000 people, 980 people died as of the last 24 hours. So people are really focused on that. But in terms of China, I mean, we're not really talking about it a great amount. But what I would say is the fact that we're relying on China for all this PPE, for all these masks. Nobody has access to a mask. The NHS is struggling for masks. Even the local schools and engineering colleges are making masks for the health service. It is crazy that we've been outsourcing all of this to China. The idea that we would outsource things so important to us to literally millions of foreign slaves at a country and pretend that those people don't exist. I mean, it's like something out of a dystopian novel.
No, I hear that, and that's what makes before this all this nonsense with the China coronavirus happened. You guys were going through Brexit and finalizing that, and a trade deal with the United States is going to be integral to both countries, I believe. And I was just wondering if anybody has started talking about, hey, let's start getting some of these supply chains out of communist China and into the hands with a good, honest trade relationship with our friends over in the United States.
I mean, it's definitely on the table. But the thing is that Brexit negotiations are ongoing, and Boris Johnson has committed to continuing those negotiations so that we leave the economic trading area with the European Union at the end of the year as planned. But of course, we need a deal in place. So we're still in discussions with the United States, but nothing is final yet, and we are running out of time. The coronavirus has kind of thrown a spanner in the works on that one, but Boris has promised it's going to happen, and I would hope that actually this might convince the UK and the US to look more at more manufacturing at home. We can't make everything at home, but at the very least, let's make such important supplies. In the UK, we never actually had a toilet paper shortage. It was people just panic buying because we have our own pulp, we make our own toilet paper. If we can make that, we can make masks.
Well, no kidding. Yeah, and you know what? It may be nice. Maybe we could just start in baby steps. Maybe we can start by not relying on backward communist countries, totalitarian countries. Maybe we can rely on democracies and friends instead of adversaries and enemies. Jack Buckby, good friend of mine. Thank you very much, sir, for the time here on the Chris Salcedo Show. Have a great Easter weekend. Still more to come, folks. We send you off into the weekend with